Hello, hello. This is Lo Mein.
And I am Esther Jade.
And we are the
Gurl
Whet
Podcast. So this is our first episode.
Woo-hoo.
And so we're going to introduce you to us and our rather strange beginning. I don't even think you would call it strange, but like we're very personable, wouldn't you say?
Yes, we're open books. So just as Esther said, we wanted to let you know how we got started. So shout out to Culture Mix Radio. Pretty much how it came about. The nonprofit organization that Esther and I are a part of, we won a spot to do a 15-second ad with them. So we came in, did the ad, started talking to the engineer, and she was saying, the engineer also happens to be the mama of Culture Mix Radio.
Shout out.
So shout out to Chef Michelle. Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
And, we were talking and she was like, you guys like vibe really well. Do y'all ever thought about doing a podcast? And Esther and I looked at each other and we were like, you know what? Doesn't sound like a bad idea.
And that was all with just a look.
A look. One thing about Esther and I, we can have full conversations with just looking at each other. So it was like, yes, girl, we got this. So here we are, episode 1. And we want to thank you all for joining us on this ride.
Yes. So just to give you a little background on what we are a podcast of 2 millennial single mothers for real, unfiltered conversations about culture, social issues, relationship dynamics, and trending topics. So the goal is to spark honest dialogue and foster community engagement and promote healing, centering Black voices and marginalized voices and experiences with every step of the way. So we hope you will join us on this journey, even call in and give us your questions or your comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Yes, yes.
And then another thing that we like to say, we are centering our podcast around Richmond. So definitely, even though you may not be from Richmond, this will definitely give you an insight on how we see things and our perspectives from being in the Richmond area. So that's definitely one thing that we are excited to have you all tune in. And as Emerald said, just kind of give your opinion. A good podcast, definitely we're going to have our conversations and dialogue, but we want to hear from you as well. What do you like about it? What would you want to see different? Or any of the topics that we discuss, do you like it? Do you not like it? That's definitely what we're here for.
Yes, and you don't need to be a native Richmonder. Let me say that again. But we are welcome to transplants because you make up Richmond as well. So join in as we start our first episode. It's Girl What? We're talking 804.
And for those of you that don't know, 804 is 804. Richmond has a very distinct dialogue. And actually, me being a Richmond native, I didn't realize it until I got older. And for those of you that are not from the area, 804 is our area code as well. So, we're going to be talking all things Richmond in the entire podcast. But specifically today, we're also going to be, talking about what's going on in the area.
Yes. So let's jump into our first segment. It's What's the Tea, Sis? And so this is going to address culture and trending topics delivered with an unfiltered, unapologetic edge. So hope you enjoy it. So what's up, Lo?
All right. So Richmond is well known for their festivals. One thing that I personally love is just being able to go out and experience a bunch of different people. Emerald, do you and the kiddos, do y'all go out a lot to different festivals?
So we missed this one. This has happened, maybe a couple weeks ago, the Second Street Festival. But we usually like to go out to the Folks Festival, which is actually coming up soon. One of my children's has a relative that actually performs there every year, so we like to go and support her.
Awesome.
Yes,
that's one of the ones I was going to bring up, the Folk Festival. I laugh because every year that the Folk Festival happens, it always pours here.
Yes.
I feel like that's like a requirement for the Folk Festival. It has to be rainy, and then it's usually always on Browns Island. And so, of course, it's muddy, and it's very disgusting to most people.
Bring your goulashes, and if you don't know what those are your rain boots.
And I laugh, though, because I feel like that's kind of... what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little bit telling of the folk festival. And I say that because it's like, when I think of a folk festival, I think of you kind of grounding and being with nature and getting in, those roots in. So it's like with the element of the rain and just the mud and everything, it's like, it kind of takes you back to childhood as well, because it's like, of course, when you're kids growing up, no matter where you are, everybody had that time where they're in the rain and playing, or they're going and jumping in puddles. And it also makes me think about Peppa Pig, muddy puddles. And, that's one thing that she loved, to jump in puddles. So, it's just very reminiscent of not only childhood, but just that grounding and being with others who have that same, sentiment as well. But as you brought up the Second Street Festival, and for those who are Richmond natives, we know that we call it 2 Street.
Yep, 2 Street.
So 2 Street actually just passed, but another festival that was also that same weekend that is actually very popular and very well known in Richmond is the Armenian Festival. The Armenian Festival, I've never been either, but one thing I did find out that it is actually one of the longest running festivals in Richmond.
Wow.
This year they actually celebrated their 65th year of the Armenian Festival here. So it's the Friday and the Saturday, the first Friday and Saturday of October. And I laugh because it's like, okay, well, if you want a whole festival weekend, you can do the Armenian Festival Friday and Saturday, and then 2 Street Saturday to Sunday. Ooh. So, definitely mixing of cultures, getting to know everything like that. But as mentioned before, Richmond actually has a lot of festivals throughout the year. Some of these I did not know about.
Very cultural.
Yes, very, very cultural. And that's one thing I do appreciate about Richmond. It's definitely a huge melting pot. It's like, not too far from D.C., so it's like when people don't want that that fast life, they kind of migrate even further down to Richmond. It's like a smaller version of D.C., very diverse, very, culturally aware. And then you have VCU here, so it's like you have the student aspect, have that college town aspect, but it's still very bustling even when college is not in session.
And the food is great.
Always. Food, and that's one thing also. Food has definitely been up and coming. So I realize a lot of people are moving here because Richmond is getting a lot more noticed, like in the big fronts of like, the magazines and the newspapers and the national news and everything about their food scene. So it's like, even me being a native of Richmond, it's like, oh, I left for college and then came back and I'm like, oh, this isn't the Richmond that I grew up in. But
ever evolving.
Right. Always.
There's some other ones. I've seen Egyptian festival, but I've never been.
There's also a chocolate festival that happens in February.
Don't tell my youngest.
There's. And then, of course, Richmond is also very well known for its beer and its breweries. There's a beer festival. There's a chocolate, wine, and whiskey festival. We have our entertainment film festival and an environmental film festival. Something that is also well known for a lot of people. Shamrock the Block is just what it sounds like. Clearly it's, in March. You wear your green, you go up and down Carytown, which is a very prominent area around here. Go up and down Carytown to the bars.
Bar crawl.
That's what it is, a bar crawl. By noon, you'll see everybody drunk walking up and down the streets. Can't even hold you for that. But, it goes on through the night. It's definitely a fun time. Have you ever participated in Shamrock the Block?
I will never.
Really? Why not?
I'm not a beer person. I'm more of a spirits. And even when I do that, it's very minimum. I like the taste because I'm bougie.
And I've done it like a few times. And it's not even just all beers. Like, they have different types of, depending on the bars you go to, they have different, like, St. Patrick's type wines, and they have, like you said, like they have the spirits, and then they also have cuisine as well. So I find that very interesting.
Well, maybe I'll have to check it out. If the food is right, maybe I'll show up.
Yes, indeed. And then I always laugh because I love watching drunk people. So, that's always something that is a benefit for me, because it's like, I get a good laugh off of other people making a fool out of themselves. So that's definitely always a benefit. Some of the other festivals that we have in the summer, there's a poetry festival that goes on in April. There is an African American book festival that also goes on in April. And there's Arts in the Park that happens in May. Another big festival here is the Que Pasa Festival, which is a yearly feast that includes, different artists, and there's food and everything. And as you can guess, it's, around the Hispanic culture. That's also something that is very fun if you love Hispanic food.
And do.
It's it's always a good time. You'll have the dancing, you'll get the delightful homemade food and all of that stuff like that. So definitely go out there with an empty stomach, and you will leave full and happy, and probably with new friends as well.
Happy as a pig.
Listen,
right.
oink oink. There is the Lebanese Food Festival that also happens in May.
Heard of that.
We have a lot of food festivals if you all have not figured that out yet. One of the favorite festivals that my son and I love going to is the Greek Festival. They are amazing. It's a fun time. It's kind of similar to the Armenian Festival. Mm-hmm. You have your food. They have different vendors that set up, their stuff for sale. You have the different children that are doing their dances on the stages. It's always just a fun time, just a wonderful group of people, but the food is amazing. Like, I can't stress that enough. You will leave, again, happy as a pig, like happy and fat and full.
I'll be there next
oink,
time.
Oink.
What about the Italian festival? You have that on your list?
I don't have that.
I went there years ago when my oldest was really young. It was pretty good. It was down on the farmer market on 17th Street.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that area.
And I was going to say, they've switched that around so much, though. So
but I like it better this way, even though it doesn't have any parking. It's just a promenade now. They used to have parking on both sides, and now they've sectioned it all the way off. So now it's just a space where people can walk. And the idea is to have just if you want to do vendors. I've gone down there for Rueda Salsa, and we've just set up and we started dancing, and it's really great. Very great environment to try to invite people in, and I like that idea, even though there's no parking.
I would say no parking, and then also down in that area, it has a bad stigma just after dark. So to have stuff like that go on, I think that also kind of brings light too. It's just like, hey, even though it has a bad rap or it's known to be a bad area, it's not all bad. And then with them bringing in the new restaurants and stuff like that, I feel like that also is a huge bonus. We started off with the October through the end of the year festivals, but two festivals that I kind of want to wrap up with. We have an 804 day here in Richmond specifically, of course, again, basing it off of our zip code. But yeah, that's something that's really huge, and that's something that, again, brings cultures together. Everybody just celebrates being in the 804 area. So it started off as a block party, but it has, since expanded. You can pretty much find anybody anywhere celebrating or doing something like that. And then one of my favorite festivals that I go to as often as I'm able to is the Richmond Jazz and Music Festival. It is just sad.
Is that the one at Dogwood?
No, that is down at oh my goodness, it's Maymont. It's at Maymont. But yeah, every year it's like a Thursday through Sunday festival.
They have big names like Jill Scott.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was thinking, look, Maymont and Dogwood are facing
across
each other.
right.
So, I meant Maymont.
But yeah, I went, was it last year or the year before? And there was Fantasia, Wyclef, just like you said, big names. My cousin and I were trying to see the Locks, but of course they were late. But this past year they had T.I., they had I think they had Little Mo, but it's just a bunch of people that always show up. And it's always a great time.
But it's hot.
But you know what? When I went a couple of years ago, it wasn't that hot. So that's a bonus as well.
I guess it's a toss-up. Yeah.
But then also because they started, a lot of people don't show up until the sun goes down, because that's also when the good artists start coming. So it's
Makes sense.
Yeah. So they know how it is. So that's definitely a bonus as well.
Well, it sounds like RVA has everything someone could want for a festival season. Yeah. So I say y'all get out there and take advantage.
Get out, take advantage, meet some new people, go by yourself. That's one thing. Don't be afraid to go places by yourself either.
Explore.
Because if I didn't do that, I'd be...
Just stay strapped, though. I'm just kidding.
Stay safe. Well, that is it for our What's the Tea Sis segment. So we will be back with you in a flash. Keep on listening. Welcome back to the Girl What podcast. Just a reminder, this episode is called Girl What. We talking 804. And for those of you that are just tuning in, 804 is 804, which is the area code for Richmond, Virginia.
Yes, so we're going to jump into our next segment that is Love, Baby, and Other Grown Folks Business. And we'll use that time to explore the complexities of dating, parenting, womanhood, which are our own brand of humor and authenticity. So let's jump right into it, Miss Lo Mein. What's our segment?
Adulting and dating, Ghetto.
Yes, I'm in 110% agreement.
Me too, because as Emerald mentioned earlier, we are both single.
Yes, very single, and I'm going to keep it that way. I've been single since 2020.
Yeah.
And stopped dating in last year.
I actually have been single since 2009.
What?
And yeah, it's ghetto out here. One thing I will say this. Let me start with the positive. The fact that I don't like the type of men that most of my people like is a benefit for me. I like them chocolate. They got to be taller than me. Mm-hmm. I'm 5'10", so I don't need a shorty doo-wop. I don't need nobody looking down on. And then also, I like my men with a little bit of weight on.
Okay. You like a Teddy Ruxpin as Tamar Black? No, wasn't Tamar Braxton.
Yep.
Yes, Teddy Ruxpin.
Yes.
Yeah. No, the type of man I like. They say a good man is basically your average woman, and I've been told I should be a lesbian. I said I think women are beautiful, but I'm just not attracted to that. So I guess the man that I guess is meant for me is a figment of my imagination.
Well, imagine on, sis. Imagine on.
Hey, look.
You know what? But some people's imaginations can become their reality, so you never know.
Who knows? I'm not holding my breath.
But I was going to say, adulting and dating kind of go hand in hand, right? Because it's like, okay, especially as a single mom, and this is just me. You can let me know, like, girl, no, or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's like, adulting. I'm not a gold digger, but sometimes I'd be like, dang, like if I had a husband, we could go 50-50 with these bills if it was a good man, right? Mm-hmm. We could go 50-50 with these bills because it's hard out here. It's hard out here for a pen. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, you already know how I feel about that. I don't do that. I have said, and I've gotten a lot of flack for this, is that a man needs to be at my level or better. That's in education, mental health, physical health, the way you show up in the world. And if because for me, what a man is competing against is the piece that I bring myself. If you cannot give me that piece or better, bye. I've done the 50-50 thing. It does not work for me. So if you're going to come, you better come correct. I need everything paid. That's what I just need. And it's not even really about money, because when you look at the grand scheme of things, we live in a capitalistic society, which is overseen by a patriarchy, right? Which is overseen by a hierarchy. Right. So, we can't help that we were born into the system, but we can help how we move through the system, right? We already know that women are systematically already at a disadvantage. Mm-hmm. Look at the wage gap. Women, if you want to break it down into numbers, how much white women get paid to their white male counterpart. And I know that black women get paid somewhere like 60 cents or something like that compared to the white male counterpart.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, we've been busting our butts since 1619. And the idea, and I've seen a lot of stuff online where people react to this, to the idea of black women resting. There are a lot of people, including people in our own culture, black men, that don't like the idea of black women resting because they saw their mother do it or their grandmother do it. Well, why shouldn't you just advocate? And I'm not saying all men. So before anybody comes for my neck, I'm not saying all men. But I do believe that black women should be able to rest. We do a lot. And we get unpaid for that. Yeah. So I think we should be doubly resting.
And I agree with that. And then my thing is this, right? To kind of counterpart what you said. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, and I'm not just saying women, people in general, they rush into the beauty of wanting to be in a relationship or wanting to say, oh, my man, oh, this is my girl kind of thing.
Or for the resources.
And the thing is, it's like, if you're just rushing into something, like, it's not a genuine relationship.
Yes.
So that's why they end the way they do, or they go through, they might not decide to end, but there'll be stresses, or somebody's calling somebody crying and be like, oh my God, he did that, she did that, pissed off kind of thing. And I'm just like, that's another reason why I have been single for so long, because it's like, I'd rather be 50 and getting married for the first time, knowing that my person is my person and we're going to be together until the end. Like, we're going to take these vows seriously. But so many people want to do things for social media these days, or to get that clout, as they say, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm too old for that.
But, you know, there's something else that I've seen, and you have to ask yourself, well, why? Because this has been happening for a long time, where it's, you know, people don't just jump into relationships. This is not like a phenomenon that's just happened. This has happened for a while. You think back to the days for when we didn't have transportation and you had to have someone in your immediate area, and this rush to get married. It's also, you know, the societal or the community norms that have been put on us for that, right? And I also believe exactly what you're saying, is that don't rush into a relationship. I'm like a snail, and that's one of the reasons why dating for me has not been successful, because I date men. This is because this is off of my experience, and some others, that I just don't rush. And a lot of men like to rush, and they don't. It's not for the sake of a relationship. It's more for the physical aspects too. And I think that women have been love bombed so long that they don't, you know, now we have a name for it, right?
Right.
And like before, we just thought, oh my God, this is it. And, you know, but if you take your time to see who people really are, to really kind of lay out what it is that you want, and to say, this is what I want. And also, you do have people who lie, and you have to take that into account, because it's not this crazy amount of women who are getting in relationships and all of a sudden they're bums. It's like, oh, you should have known better, because that's kind of the rhetoric that's been said to women, and that's not true, because they don't take into account of that there are men that lie, there are people that lie, right? And so that's how you get into that situation.
And even with the lies, though, look, I was going to say, I'm going to use the lies, I'm going to use the term that, you know, I want to say the kids, because that sounds old, but, you know, just the red flags were there, you know? And I was even talking to my cousin the other day just about something or someone that I dated. And it was just like, you know what? Like, even from the beginning, the red flags were there. Now, looking in hindsight, it's like, they were definitely there. But it's like, you know, kind of going back to what I was saying before, because I've been a victim of this for myself. Like, you know, we want that relationship. It's like, oh, we think that we can change people. And it's like, you know, no, you cannot change people. When they show you who they are, believe them. So it's you know, it's definitely a learning experience as well, where it's like those red flags were there. You may have thought that you were changing them, but that also goes into what you were saying, how people tell lies. So it's like, oh, they see what you want, or they see what can get you to kind of soften up. So they're going to put that facade on to get what they need from you. And then after a while, it's like, oh, they turn back and they show you who they really are. So it's just like one of those things where it's like, you know what? Like, again, ghetto.
I'm the opposite. I see the red flags, and I have had friends, like, I'll give you an example. It was the summer before last. It was like, you know, my last year dating. And I had seen this guy for a couple of weeks, and I was going on a girls' trip to Denver. And I was like, oh, I'd like to see him before I go. And I hung out with him in the park, just, you know, let him know, yeah, I'll be there for like 5 days or whatever. It's no biggie. Do you know that this man texted me 3 days in with, I miss you? And I was like, miss who? Now, that's not what I said to him. I said this to my friends. And they're like, what? That's so sweet. I said, don't you know that's just a ploy to try to get me to jump into bed with him quicker? Like, he just saw me 3 days ago. I don't miss him. And my response was, I'll see you when I get back. Yeah. And, my friend was like, well, I just think that's so sweet. And I was like, I don't think that's sweet. It's not genuine. You don't know. He doesn't know me. I don't know him. He's trying to play the game. And guess what? I got back and he revealed himself that he was only trying to sleep with me. Yeah. And I was just like, okay. And I knew that. So it wasn't so much my feelings were hurt. But I think for me is that, again, I date men, that men don't see or value women as human beings. So that's what has turned me off from dating, and I feel like it is ghetto. And, you know, as women, I feel like as a group, we do more self-reflection. We do more work on ourselves. You know, I can't even tell you how, like, the 3 relationships I've been in that I've had to try to convince these men, whether it's for individual counseling or couples counseling, they fight against it. It's like the meme where they're like punch in the air. Yeah. That's exactly how they acted. But then, for instance, the last guy, like, he was my first love and everything. We tried again. He recently was talking about because I go on an Instagram account, a Finsta account, talking about how he's in counseling, all these things. And I was like, no, red flag, pass, because he's also a narc. And so I think that's also the thing is, I'm not saying that men are beyond saving, but this whole idea of wanting a woman to save you, to use a woman's labor to save you. And I could see through it, right? And you have to want to do the work on yourself for you, not for a partner to want you. Because the first rule is, in my opinion, we live in a society where we're always outsourcing love instead of insourcing that. You know, and I think that's the big key to dating is you need to love yourself first before you start dating people. Indeed. And to me, that's a huge green flag. And until I see that, my mind will not change on dating is ghetto.
And to kind of bounce off of that, one thing that I feel like men do, and this isn't a men bashing episode.
No, it's not.
Just from our perspectives and what we've noticed.
Exactly.
A lot of men will fumble the ball with that one, right? And then from that, they will kind of then look inward and realize what they need to work on within themselves. So it's kind of like the Janet Jackson song, "You Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone," you know? So it's like, oh, I realized I messed up a good thing. I also know that I'm not going to get that back. So before I try to jump to the next one, like, let me take a moment to try to work on myself. Does that trying to work on myself always work out? No. Most times it'll probably take a few women before they
take a poll from our listeners. I drop us a DM if you feel like men actually do the work. If you're a man, do you actually do the work, and what kind of work do you do to improve yourself? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't seen that yet. So I'm not saying don't happen.
And I have seen it. So I guess it's, you know, of course, it just depends on the man. Of course. So yes, a diamond in the rough, indeed. But, you know, it's those unicorns. I've seen the horns. You know what I'm saying?
Black unicorns, they just be so elusive. Go ahead. Sorry.
But you know, yeah, definitely. Let us know, you know, even women, like, have you seen a man that maybe you used to deal with and, you know, you've seen that he's turned out for the better? You can DM us on our Instagram. It's at gurlwhetpodcast, GURLWHET podcast. And again, that is at GURLWHET podcast. We want to hear from you. So just let us know what you think.
On Instagram, that's where we are. And ladies, you can jump into the DMs and give us your experiences on what you have done for self-improvement. We would love to hear from you. So share that experience.
Hey, thank you for staying tuned with us for the Girl What podcast. This is Lo Mein.
And this is Esther Jade.
And we are just going to continue our talk, just as we were speaking, you know, before the break about adulting and dating or ghetto. We mainly talked about dating, just because, that's ghetto. And with us being 2 millennials that are single, you know, that's something that we do like to discuss.
Yes. So we're going to jump into our next segment. The group chat got deep. So this is where we're going to address, centering around community, vulnerability, and growth, and with in-depth insights often found in the group chat, amazingly enough. So this is going to include celebrating listeners' voices with their affirming "you really said something" energy, and invites community participation and truth-telling. But for this time, we're going to kind of go along with the adult in dating is ghetto theme. We're going to talk about the perils of dating, vetting in 2025.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oof. Now, this is a little rough now. Look. Lo, have you heard of the Facebook group called Are We Dating the Same Guy, or the T-App?
I've heard of both of them.
Okay.
Just to be nosy, I am actually in the Facebook group, and I laugh all the time. Because these women, like when I tell you, a lot of these women are messing with the same men, and it's like all they have to do is post a picture, or they'll just put his initials and his age and like his area.
Yeah, because we're super sleuths.
And it's crazy how many women will be like, or women that have messed with this particular guy, they'll be like, don't mess with him, this, and that, and there, and they'll give like paragraphs. And like I said, like I just do it because I laugh. Like it's crazy.
I'm in a couple of them, but it's like the same thing on repeat. I'm like, I'll say the same thing. Girl, if you're on here, you're not listening to your intuition told you, and now you want someone to reaffirm that. And that's another thing about the socializing, right? Is condition women not to listen to their own intuition. And I'm not trying to make fun of nobody, but I have to take a break because this is mentally and emotionally exhausting, because literally it's just cut and paste of different women going through the same thing. And these are different men. So dating is ghetto.
It's a hamster wheel.
So for those who don't know, Are We Dating the Same Guy is a women-only Facebook group that encompasses more than 150 major regions and cities in the United States, where women share names, photos, and profiles sometimes of men they're dating or considering dating or in relationships/marriages with. So think neighborhood watch groups for dating. And so the T app is also a woman-only mobile app launched in 2023, where users can anonymously review and rate men they're interested in or dating. It's described as the Yelp for men. So, but basically these are tools that serve as to protect women, right? Because like we said in the last segment, is that, women are basically an unprotected class. Right. And so these are one of those things that women use as a tool to protect themselves, where there are some men that don't feel that way because it keeps them at a disadvantage in the dating market. And that has more to do with their ego and feelings and not actually any hurt or harm coming to them, which is what women face every day dating, every day when we leave the house. Right. So here's the differences. The T-App offers like structured tools where women can leave anonymous reviews, like green, red flags that we said before, run background checks, which I didn't know, and I'm actually on the T-App. I haven't really used it because I've only met like one guy, and I put his name in. I even put some X's in, but they didn't come up. So the background checks encompasses a sex offender registry, phone number lookups, reverse image search, and you can share resources. The branding is polished and tied to women's empowerment. So 10% of the profits go to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. I really like that. And users must verify their identity with facial authentication. Sorry, guys, to join. So you have to screenshot yourself, and you can't disable that. So the criticism for people using this app, they say a major data breach in this past July that exposed images and messages and sparking lawsuits. Critics also raised concerns about defamation and safety, and you can tell who that would be coming from. But I think like that data breach was not from the like actual creator and owners and operators of the apps. It's probably someone who don't want to be on the app, but it's like, don't do wrong.
But the thing is with that also, like with anything technology-wise these days, you have to be smart enough to know that anything and everything can go through a data breach. So it's like, yes, while you're anonymous on this app, like there's somebody who can crack a code. So, it's like, okay, yes, I understand that you want to be anonymous, but even in the background, like the owner still knows who you are. So
yeah, but it's supposed to be a tool for helpfulness, right? And so it kind of goes back to like, who we helping and who we hurting on that, right? And you're right, you have to be mindful of that. But I wouldn't really put too much. I'm not really into the dating scene. I just kind of like watch and learn. And I'm like, yep, saw that coming, kind of thing. But to talk about the differences with Are We Dating the Same Guy? That functions as a crowdsourcing vetting network. Members flag flag cheating, abusive behavior, or red flags, while others sometimes vouch for good guys. And I've seen that a couple of times. Each group has its own moderators, rules, and culture. So each one, whatever region or city you're in, you have your own moderators and such, because it's not centralized, and reliability and tone vary by city. So the criticism there, it can blur lines between accountability and gossip, sometimes leading to public shaming or doxing. I've never seen that. I've seen it from the opposite end, where there have been men who have gained access to inside of the Are We Dating the Same Guy? And they've started a whole expose saying, oh, these women commented. And that defeats the purpose of they're actually solidifying. They're showing that we are correct to have these tools, because they're actually making a tool to offer the tool we're trying for protection to try to quote unquote expose us, but you're just trying to harm us. The same thing with the T app, where it was in Michigan, where these men made their own app. But guess what they did with their opportunity? Because they were mad about being put on the T app. They basically made it a, what do you call it? They did revenge porn. Mm-hmm. So they were posting stuff of women that they felt like were, posting them. And it's like, the two are not the same.
But I've also seen, like, with both the app, I haven't seen the app personally, but even from the aspect of the Facebook groups, there are women in there, and just like how you mentioned, like, some of these women are saying, oh, this is my friend, this is a good person. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to also realize that there are women that are going back and telling these men about them being posted, mm-hmm. In these chats where it's like, okay, yes, they're supposed to be anonymous. And God forbid, it's like one particular woman where this man has done something to. And it's like, oh, I saw your picture in this, this group or on this app. And then he automatically knows who it is. So mm-hmm. it's like, yes, while you think you're anonymous, again, it kind of goes back to how much of this person do you know? Like,
well, we call those kind of women pick-me's. And I'll leave that there. I'm not going to explain it. But, that they're also harmful to other women as well. Like, are you there to help women or harm them by gaining favor with some guy? Because women sharing information has been something that's been since the dawn of time, and men try to demonize it with the word gossip. But when men do it, it's not gossip. Isn't that interesting?
It's gossip now. We call it gossip now, fellas.
Yep.
And we know that y'all gossip more than us.
Oh, yes. The barbershop.
Listen.
I've heard a lot there. So some of the community responses is like defensive pushback, men argue that the group is unfair or damaging to their reputations. Sir, if you can't survive this community or the society based on your personality and to try to continue on your lineage, that's not our problem. If you're a bad person, if you're a good person, a good human being, as I like to say, then you have no problems. So I found that, a hit dog hollers in that case. Uneasy curiosity. Men know women are using the group, even if they're not in it. Some feel anxious about being screened, while others wonder if it makes them more careful in dating. Supportive perspectives. Several men get it. Safety and solidarity are the driving forces. Okay, let's keep that in mind, everybody. They see the group as a tool of accountability in a landscape where women often lack resources for vetting. Mm-hmm. There have been a couple of lawsuits. One back actually is as of September 4th, an Illinois federal judge dismissed a defamation lawsuit against Are We Dating? The Same Guy Facebook group. The plaintiff sued Meta as well as women who dated him and their parents, women who commented on the post about him in Facebook group, and moderators for the group for defamation, invasion of privacy, doxing, and more. Yeah, this man's delusional, and that's. Listen, he's delusional. And that's just my opinion, y'all. The judge found that the plaintiff did not provide sufficient evidence of false statements or that the comments made about him were inherently damaging or defamatory. And guess what? He's still trying to go after people. But if he got the money to do that, go ahead and waste it on that instead of actually living a happy life and getting therapy and touching grass with your feet. So there was also one as of April 10th, 2024, an LA man attempted to sue more than 50 women 9 of whom were named in his 2023 complaint. The California judge dismissed one of the cases, and the most recent case had a hearing date in April 2025. So, and seemingly this individual isn't done. The plaintiff created a GoFundMe in March 2024, and it has currently raised over $7,400. So, so the bigger picture in dating in 2025 is, for women, collective vetting is protection. Yeah. For men, it can feel like surveillance, but aren't we already in a surveillance state, y'all? And the clash reveals how much the dating landscape has shifted: privacy versus safety, and accountability versus perception. So clearly these platforms provoke strong reactions that reveal a lot about the culture dynamics of dating in 2025.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, adulting and dating are ghetto.
Ghetto.
But we want to take a moment to wrap up. We hope you all have enjoyed our first episode. Thank you again for listening. We thoroughly do appreciate you for supporting the Girl Whet podcast. Just to, again, reiterate, you can follow us on Instagram and YouTube. Both are Girl Whet podcast. And to spell that for you again, it's GURLWHET podcast. Again, GURLWHET podcast.
And we're going to have a little logo. That's the Virginia logo. And this one hand is the state flower. If y'all can, we'll give you 10 points if you know what the state flower is. I'm not even going to tell you. So we just want to know how we can create a healthier, more authentic connection while still keeping our personal growth and boundaries front and center. So we love any feedback. And we hope to hear from you soon. DM us. Send us a voice memo. That would be great, actually, to, start a conversation. So you might just hear yourself on the next episode of Girl Whet Podcast.
Yeah.